So when we start with these statements that are commonly called the Beatitudes. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. And then they go on. There are several blessed statements. And the word that's used in the Greek is makarioi. It means in the state of the gods. I really like that reading. As a Latter-day Saint, understanding what we believe about what Jesus intends to do to us, he intends to make us as he is, and we read this in the Book of Mormon, but it's other places as well, of the blessed state of the gods. Blessed are you, or you come to the Makari, or you come to be in this state if you have these characteristics. And what are they? They're characteristics of a disciple of Christ. What is a disciple of Christ like? Well, they're meek. They hunger and thirst after righteousness. They have mercy in their heart. They're pure in heart. They're peacemakers. As they do these things, as followers of Christ exemplify these characteristics, they become like the celestial beings. Everything Bryce is talking about, taking us to the celestial kingdom, is a blessed state of those individuals that have had their very natures changed. There's a really interesting commentary about this from a couple of scholars, LeGrand Baker and Stephen Ricks. So they say, one of the most interesting examples of Joseph Smith's statement, we believe the Bible to be the Word of God as far as it is translated correctly, is found in the Anchor Bible, where we read a couple of biblical scholars, W.F. Albright, a distinguished Old Testament scholar, and C.S. Mann, an equally distinguished New Testament scholar. This is the way that they translate it. Fortunate are the humble in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Fortunate are those who mourn, for they shall be consoled. Fortunate are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. And then they go on. But then Baker and Ricks make this point. They say, in a footnote, Albright and Mann explain why they chose the word fortunate. They write, the word in Greek was used in classical times to mean of the state of the gods in contrast of men, meaning that makarioi is about the blessed state of the gods. They continue, the usual English, quote, blessed, has more and more come to have liturgical or ecclesiastical overtones, and so we, Albright and Mann, have chosen fortunate as being the best translation available to us. And then Baker and Ricks continue, and they, commenting on this, say, the thing that is so interesting about the clarification in their footnote is that these world-class scholars knew what the Greek word makarioi means. It means in the state of the gods. But they did not believe Jesus could have meant that, so they came up with a watered-down word, fortunate, because that made more sense to them. Then, consistent with their training as scholars, they put the real meaning of the word in the footnote. So I really like that word. I love the word blessed, and as kind of a nerdy side note, the Hebrew equivalent is ashrei, which I keep coming back to. That's kind of this idea of a tree in Proverbs 3, that they're blessed. And by the way, we're in this sermon, we are progressing towards the Holy of Holies. We're coming to a tree. So at the conclusion of this sermon, Jesus will talk about, how do I know if a tree's good? Look at its fruit. But that's for next week. But it really starts out beautifully if we understand Jesus is inviting us to enter into the state of the gods, the blessed state of the gods.